week goes to Bunny Love, who said, Kristen Conger, I loved How to Be a Model. LOL, so awesome, I decided to try it. She sent me a photo of her looking like a model every day, and it made me so happy, like I said that it would. Thank you, Bunny Love, Bunny loved it. This week on Stuff Mom Never Told You, I talked about how much is too much alone time, which is a question that I ask myself a lot because if you can't tell, no one's in the room with me. On Wednesday, I talked about what not to call a beautiful woman, all about how exotic is not the best adjective to use to describe a person, particularly who does not have super pale skin like me. But even if she does, okay, I'm not gonna keep going with that song. And then for Friday Fun Times, I talked about some bizarre back to school products that were at least bizarre to me. But now onto this week's Ask Kristen. Thanks to everyone who watched and commented on last week's Ask Kristen video, what makes names masculine and feminine? You guys shared some fascinating name facts. That's hard to say. Fascinating name facts. Noodle Bamboo said, Kristen with various spelling variations is actually a boy's name in Norway, whereas Kristen with an I-N, also with various spellings, is for girls. Personally, I would like to give my children gender-neutral names. Or just name them Kristen, like my name, Kristen, and then all the Norwegians would be like, what's Norwegian for I don't know? Anton Quirrell said, what's interesting is that the Japanese name Yuri is a girl's name, whereas the Russian name Yuri is a boy's name, which really just goes to show that this whole masculine and feminine name thing, we just made it up. Now into this week's Ask Kristen questions. First of all, Chanel Moore wanted to know, how do you come up with such interesting topics? The answer is you. I answer the questions that you wonderful people ask. So that's why at the end of every Ask Kristen video, I'm like, please ask me questions so I can answer them. S. O'Neill wants to know, I was wondering if you could answer why there's usually such a strong difference between boys and girls' handwriting. A lot of people are exceptions to this, but still, I wonder. You are not alone in wondering because there are actually a lot of studies on gender differences in handwriting. You are also correct in saying that some people are exceptions to this because you know who's one? Me. It might have to do with me being left-handed, but seriously, it's kind of messy. Beautifully written notes for Monday's upcoming video, how to finish what you start. No spoiler alert necessary because can you even read that? The fascinating thing about handwriting is that it's sort of an assumed gender marker. We are fairly good at detecting based on a handwriting sample alone whether the person holding that pen or pencil is a guy or a gal, in the same way that, say, the way a person sits or walks usually denotes more masculine or feminine traits. And the ultimate question that researchers are trying to figure out and still haven't fully pinned down is whether observed gender differences in girls having neater, cuter handwriting and boys having sloppier handwriting is a matter of nature or nurture. On the nature side of things, there was a 2005 study that came out of the University of Leicester which correlated progesterone and estrogen exposure to female fetuses in the womb and girls' neater handwriting. Those hormones influence the digit, i.e. your finger ratio, which influences how you're gonna hold your pencil, which influences how well you are going to write. However, the study did not find that the reverse was true for prenatal exposure to testosterone in boys. The primary nature-related argument for girls having neater handwriting is that our fine motor skills tend to develop a bit faster than boys in early childhood. When we're all learning how to write, girls have finer tune, fine motor skills than boys do. And by the time boys catch up to us, well, those earlier, messier handwriting habits are already ingrained. Proponents on the nurture side of the fence would probably argue that this is all a confirmation bias at work. We simply believe that girls are neater and nicer and primer and proper, so we expect to see that manifested in their neater and cleaner and tidier handwriting. If a teacher sees that a boy has messy handwriting, well, Boys will just be boys. Girls, meanwhile, will dot their eyes with hearts, or smiley faces, or flowers, or sunshines. You know, it really just depends on the season. Based on my personal experience, which therefore has zero scientific validity, I have horrible handwriting, but when I was a girl, I tried to make my handwriting nice and neat, and it simply did not take. However, in my 10th grade chemistry class, I sat next to a guy named Charlie, and he was a jock, he was popular, he was very much a guy's kind of guy. Charlie had the nicest, stereotypically girliest handwriting I had ever seen. It was beautiful. So it seems like this kind of gender marker isn't necessarily inborn, but it isn't necessarily just socialized into us either. But now I want to know what you think. Wherever you live, have you noticed those differences in boys' handwriting and girls' handwriting? And are you someone like me whose handwriting sort of violates that stereotype? Will this even matter once emojis completely take over? And don't forget to ask me your questions so I can give you some answers. Thankfully with my voice and not with my handwriting, otherwise you wouldn't be able to decipher it. Wouldn't be able to decipher it. Wouldn't be able to decipher it. Wouldn't be able to decipher it.